Mr. Speaker, today I raise in favor of my amendment, number 62. It would prohibit funds from being used for the Office of Clean Energy demonstrations within the Department of Energy. And I know that sounds like a wonderful title, and you think that what could be wrong with that, but I'm going to explain to you, Mr. Speaker, what is wrong with it. This Office of Clean Energy demonstrations is going to have an equitable energy transition. And let's talk about, in real words, what that means. It means that Americans who don't want this are going to be forced to have it, this transition, and they're going to be forced in spending their taxpayer dollars for it. And I'll tell you what Americans are tired of. They're tired of being told what to do by politicians and those in certain positions of power. And I think we forget sometimes that Americans don't work for us, the politicians, the Congress, the members of Congress, the members of the Senate, and the President of the United States works for them. But so often we forget that. And what does this all mean, what this department does, what this group of people that supposedly know so much? It means less reliable energy. It means continued higher energy prices. It means less energy independence. Many of the technologies that this office uses and advocate on rely on countries, particularly China. Our country, China, with a track record of human rights violations such as what goes on in the Congo. And I want everybody to listen to this, where modern-day slavery is in effect forcing hundreds of thousands of Africans to work in subhuman conditions in order to mine the cobalt needed for electric vehicles. How wrong is that? While we're driving around in our fancy electric vehicles, mostly wealthier folks, these people are scratching the dirt to try to just survive. And we think that's a good thing. That's not the American way. It's also important to note, even if you do believe in it, that America has these resources and it's quite blessed with earth minerals. But this administration continues to prevent our ability to actually mine them, so that we depend on China more than ever. You couldn't make this stuff up. You can't believe it, but it's true. And it forces us to purchase it from China. So it's unfair, it's unethical, and I would maintain it is un-American to continue forcing to pay this money, to continue forcing taxpayers to subsidize it, continue to force Americans to have this shoved down their throat when they don't want it. We need to end the subsidization of clean energy in this form. Let the marketplace take effect. Let's have the competition. Let's see if nuclear is the best. Let's see if we can really build and supply more solar panels in the United States of America, but not rely on other countries. Eliminating offices like these are a step in the right direction. It's the right thing to do for so many reasons. I've just outlined a few of them, and I urge my colleagues to vote yes on this amendment, Mr. Speaker, and I reserve.
Gentleman reserves. For what reason does the gentleman from Tennessee rise?
Mr. Chairman, I claim time in opposition.
The gentleman is recognized.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. The Office of Clean Energy Demonstration is responsible for managing more than $25 billion for large-scale pilot programs and demonstrations across numerous energy technologies. It's our responsibility to be good stewards of taxpayer funds, which is why the House bill includes no funding for the office to conduct new demonstrations. Instead, the only funds provided to the office in this bill are for staff to provide project management oversight. My colleague's amendment respectfully would prohibit funds for that oversight function, preventing the office from ensuring programs that are being properly administered. That would directly impact the success of important programs within the office's jurisdiction, like the Advanced Reactor Demonstration Program and Small Modular Reactor Program. These programs, which have strong bipartisan support, are essential to ensuring our nation's energy security and regaining U.S. leadership in nuclear energy. We can't abandon our oversight responsibilities and risk the success of programs like these. For these reasons, I must oppose the amendment and urge my colleagues to do the same. Mr. Chairman, I reserve.
New Jersey is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I respect my colleague, Mr. Fleischman, tremendously. It's one of those few times we'll have to agree to disagree. But I think it's so important that we make a statement here. There are some good things that office does, but they do so many things that we don't agree with. And this is the conundrum that we always find ourselves in Congress. In order to get a modicum of good things done, we have to vote for the whole package, and the whole thing moves forward, and so many of those initiatives are not good. And that's the problem here. Let's do this right. I believe in nuclear. I believe solar can have a role. I don't believe wind can do well, especially out in the ocean. But the point is, let the marketplace of ideas be the ones that dictate what we should do here. This office does so much that it shouldn't do, and yet we're told we have to vote for this because they do a few things we agree with. I respectfully disagree. I reserve my time.
Gentleman reserves. Gentleman from Tennessee is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield to the gentlelady from Ohio, Ms. Kaptur, as much time as she may consume.
I thank the gentleman for yielding. I rise in strong opposition to this amendment and say that I can still recall in this country when the first Arab oil embargo occurred in the 1970s, in the late 70s, and this country was shut down, because we were not energy independent inside our borders. And when they chose to close the spigot, it harmed our unemployment in my area shot up to nearly 20%. During this war in Ukraine that we're experiencing now, so unfair, what does Russia do? It tries to divert its oil shipments here and many other places around the world in order to use that power in order to achieve its political ends. Energy is vital, and it can be used as a weapon. We have to be energy independent inside these borders. The Office of Clean Energy Demonstrations was established in order to scale up emerging technologies. We cannot just rely on the past. This is an agile country. We have to build the future. And this office focuses on advanced nuclear, for example. It focuses on carbon capture, energy improvements both in rural, remote areas, as well as the reclaiming of former mine lands. We're looking at smaller nuclear reactors in some of those places. Industrial demonstrations, working with the steel industry. They've made a revolution in energy savings. It's exciting to see. Energy storage demonstrations, regional clean hydrogen hubs, which I hope someday to get in my area because I so believe in hydrogen fuel cells. But we have to even push the technology further than it is. And others yet to be invented, certainly in the thermal energy recapture field. So I would just say to the gentleman, we must continue to invest in an all of the above strategy to make this country energy independent in perpetuity. We cannot lose our momentum. And unfortunately, I believe your amendment does exactly that, loses momentum, and it helps to throttle scientific innovation, which is what the Department of Energy has in all of our 17 labs, everything that's being done. The average business that's out there can't do some of what the Department of Energy can help them do with its supercomputing capacity and with its ability to deal with rare minerals and so forth. So I just think that you may be well-intentioned in offering of this amendment. I have to oppose you, however, because I really think it drives America backwards. And that is not where we need to be at this moment in history. I urge members to vote against this amendment, and I yield back my time.
Gentlelady yields back to the gentleman from Tennessee.
Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. The gentleman from New Jersey is recognized.
Speaker, just quickly to wrap it up, we are less energy independent now than we were 4 years ago. I agree. I want to look at nuclear. You look at carbon capture, look at all these things, but don't make us more dependent on other countries. The wind turbines that are going to be, hopefully won't be built, but they want to build in our beautiful oceans are going to make us more dependent for energy on foreign countries. What we're forcing down the American public with the EVs and the electric vehicles will make us more dependent on China. And I yield back.
Gentleman yields